and everybody stopped walking, which is actually normally a sign that something has crashed.
Video blog.
Hey guys, this is Tim from Twice Circled, and welcome to episode 16 of the official Megaquarium video blog. Lots of new stuff this week. First up, do you remember this bar here? It's gone by many names. I've called it the mood bar, the happiness bar. Well, it's now got a new name, but more importantly, it's actually got a whole new way in the way it works. So I'm now calling this the health bar. And so just like before, it determines the general well-being of your animals, and higher it is, good stuff happens, the lower it is, bad stuff happens. But the difference is this time it's much more like a health bar from like an RPG or a real-time strategy game, where it's got a value, and when bad stuff happens, like if you don't feed your fish or they get into fights or things like that, then their health degrades. But when you take care of them over time, their health slowly increases. Now that's actually different to how it worked before, where it was much more instantaneous. Basically, if there was a bad condition, like bad water quality, something like that, it would have this instantaneous effect on the happiness or the mood, but if you fix that problem, you would immediately be back to where you were. So it was very easy to get around these things, whereas now, if for example we shoved a load of fish into this tank here, so it was overcrowded, then they would start losing health, but they wouldn't get that back if you fixed that overcrowding problem. So it's a bit more permanent. Anyway, so that's the first thing, and we'll probably see some examples of that as this game goes along. The next thing that I've changed is, haha, look, it's almost as if I planned it. I've changed this. This used to be called the feeding summary page, and we'd basically get this long list of all our fish and other animals. Well, just fish for now. But, and for the most part, it just filled up a square, and you're like, well, great, I fed them. And every now and again, one of them would say like, oh, not fed, so they go hungry. And that was some useful information, because it means that your feeding operation isn't working properly. And I realized that the vast majority of these rows were basically pointless, and actually you really only care when things are not fed. But you also care maybe when things grow in size and stuff like that. So I've changed it to be, it's now just a general event log, which tells you the stuff that's going on in your aquarium, both positive and negative. And I'm already much preferring it. It does mean that we've got rid of those little squares, and in fact this is all part of an even bigger change, which I'm going to talk about next. So now here's a great example of the new health mechanic working. So pumpkin in tank 4 was not fed today. Eventually I want to make these little hyperlinks so you can click on them to open up their windows. I've already worked out how I'm going to do that, so that's definitely going to be possible. I like the sound of that. -5 health. So this is that new health icon. So that is permanent, whereas before it would be like, I think you'd get a -10 happiness modifier, but it would only last a day. So as soon as you fed them again, then they're basically back to normal. Whereas now that's a permanent change, and the only way to get that health back is to slowly they just gain it all the time while you're looking after them. Although in the future I'd love to have like medicines and treatments that increase your animals' health almost instantaneously, as a way of kind of not cheating, just kind of, getting them back to good health quicker. Alright, cool. So this is all normal, this is all the same as before, and you've seen this too. Oh, almost gone up an entire level in one go. Okay, so that's the second thing. And yeah, that's, again, it's all kind of part of a biggish change, which is, let's put this open, which is now the fish, they don't have there was this thing, I called it the growth schedule, which was basically, it was a series of squares, if you guys remember, kind of green squares, and they'd get filled up one per day, and on a certain day they would automatically go up in size, and then size also determined how many points that the fish was worth. Well, this is gone now, you'll notice, but we've got this new stuff, this new information here, where we've got it says fry and then size 1, and then eventually it grows into an adult, which is size 2. And here we have for the hind, for this grouper, fry size 1, and then it eventually turned into an adolescent, which is size 2, and then an adult, which is size 4. So if we now click here, let's have a look at our groupers. Okay, maybe these guys... Oh, these guys haven't been getting fed. So, I'm not sure... Oh, will they get fed today? Oh, it might be time. This staff member has to get all the way around here, pick up some food, and then come here. So yeah, these... I'm now really interested to see if they manage to get fed now. Oh, I think they're just about going to manage it. Go on. Yep. And then... Yeah, fed them this time. Okay, so anyway, they'll start to go up. Let's try and find the people who are closest to growing. Okay, here we go. All right. So Casper here is going to grow in 2 days. Now this means that he's going to grow from, let me just pause it, he's going to grow from a fry, which is size 1, to an adult, which is size 2. Now, it's not, I don't know if you guys remember, but before, where the size was automatically multiplied by the number of points in these traits, right? And that gave you their point total. That's not how it works anymore. The points here is the points you get, right? So it doesn't matter what it is, what size it is. Do we have any? I don't think we've actually got anything that's not size 1 at the moment, because everything starts off pretty much at size 1 with these fish because they're small. Yeah, no, these are all size 1. But even if this was a size 2, you would still just be getting 3 points of that and 1 point of that. But the way it works is when these fish, what we're showing here is the point value when they're a baby, but when they level up, they actually gain some points. When I say level up, what I mean is when they kind of grow up, when they turn into that adult, or here if they turn into the adolescent. So let's do a couple more days so that we can show that happening. I don't think anyone's going to grow today. These guys are the closest. These will probably grow in another day. And this is where so there we go, no events to report. Nice and simple. Before, this would have been filled with loads of useless information, which you could have just assumed, which is, everything's grown. You'll see that this growth bar has increased. And this growth bar is actually the speed at which it grows. Oh, level up. The speed at which the growth bar grows is basically the same as the current health of your fish. So you've got this real reason why you want to keep your fish healthy, because it's directly proportional. So once you get this up to full, they'll be growing even quicker. And then the other thing to mention is that this health bar actually starts off at 50%. I might tweak the exact number, but the idea is that your animals arrive in quite poor condition, which is quite realistic because they don't really like the stress of being transported. Can you imagine just being in a small container with, just enough nutrients and oxygen and water and stuff to keep you alive for just 2 days while transporting? They're obviously much happier in these nice big tanks. So, but one of my ideas is you could actually unlock technology which increases the starting health of your fish so that it kickstarts their growth, which would be pretty cool. Cool. So let's speed on, and I'm going to show you what happens when some fish grow up. Oh, in fact, in other news, I've also sped up the turn rate and the walk rate of all of the people. And it's mad. I don't know, I think they look fine. I don't think they look like they're walking too fast. They used to look very kind of sedate in the way they walked, which was quite nice because I liked the way they were kind of ambling around the aquarium. But actually, increasing their speed has made it a lot more, made them get around your aquarium a lot better. Hey, look at this. So, see what I mean? This event summer, I think it's so much better. It's much more exciting. And everybody stopped walking, which is actually normally a sign that something has crashed. So, anyway, I'm just going to ignore that. But so, you see this information here. So, Bubbles in Tank 1. In fact, you know what would be really nice is actually if we knew what Bubbles was. So, that's something I probably will look into. Although, in fairness... anyway, I'll explain something else in a moment. I'll stick to the schedule, which is, so Bubbles in Tank 1 grew into an adult today, and then this is the additional stats that they gain. So you see now he's got 2 for colourful, 2 for hardy, and he's now size 2. So this size is not being multiplied by this value, which I always found a bit confusing, and I don't like forcing the player to do maths. It's not normally a good strategy. But you do want to make them grow up, because obviously that means that they're worth more points. And then you can see that Comet and Flash, which I think must be, they must be clownfish, because they've got this prestige points. Although that's kind of strange. +2 ecology, +1 science, And then it's just got a prestige icon with no actual plus. So I don't really know what that means. More bugs, perhaps. I'll have to look into that. Anyway, so yeah, all these things are leveled up. They're now worth more points. And so overall, let's just see if this has crashed yet. Oh no. Okay, but it's pretty broken. Alright, that's fine. I'm actually going to end the vlog here anyway, so it doesn't really matter. What I'll do is I'll work out what's gone wrong there and join this game again later in the next vlog. But just to finish up, I do think... Oh, look, and these guys have all grown up in size. They're much larger. Wow, they look a lot larger, actually, don't they? Look, compared to these are the mini clownfish. Wow, I just zoomed in. These are the mini clownfish. These are the adult ones. So yeah, quite a difference in size. But yeah, the thing that I really like is that I think it's a lot simpler to grasp this stuff now. It feels a lot, it's basically borrowing stuff from RPGs, this idea of like leveling up and gaining stats. And what I've done is I've recreated that by having these fixed stages of growth. Whereas what we had before was they just turned up and they had these stats, and their stats would kind of grow over time based on them being healthy. And yeah, I think this is just easier to grasp. I like the fact that you don't have to multiply the size by these. And the other thing I really like is you might have noticed I'm not gaining points as quickly as I used to, and that's because like these guys are now fully grown. They're only worth 2-2, which in the old version I think they started off at about 2-2, and then they used to gain loads of stats, and then of course you'd multiply the size by them too. So some fully grown, the first fish in the game when it was fully grown would be worth like, I don't know, 6 or 7 points. Maybe more actually, whereas now it's really kept a level on. So I'm really happy with that. We get a bit less of this kind of point creep as early on in the game, which I was worried about. And it also will feeding very nicely into the named fish thing, which is that eventually these guys won't be named, but the named fish will be additional points on top of this. I think it's going to work really well. Anyway, that's it for this week. Thank you guys for watching. You guys might have noticed some different icons above the tanks. Now that's because I've now introduced different types of food for your animals. Now, I'm not going to talk about that this week because I want to do a bit more work on it and show you guys when it's completely finished. But yeah, that's a little sneak preview of next time. Alright, thanks guys for watching. I'll see you next week. Bye.